Answer Me This with Kwabena Ansah and me, Rod Corp.
Kwabena, how are you this week?
I'm doing really well, Rod. Pleasure to be back again to talk more to you about sports.
And your love of rugby.
Well, we are in a very beautiful period for Australian rugby where we are making a lot of changes. Look, it was a humbling weekend last week for Australia versus South Africa. As I predicted, Rod, South Africa were going to win. Now, I think a lot of Australians probably didn't expect the level of humble pie that we had, but it was certainly something that we can take away. And my favourite new coach, Joe Schmidt, can take away and make some relevant changes. But look, I don't really want to talk about Australia's game. Rod, answer me this. Has New Zealand's rugby fallen off the cliff?
Well, some people thought of suggesting this.
Well, look, I mean, last week Argentina beat New Zealand 38-30, and although it was down in Wellington, this week they have him in Eden Park, now the home of rugby, and for New Zealand, I'm expecting a very, very different New Zealand attack, and I think for Argentina to go away and beat New Zealand in their hometown, it just really feels as if Argentina are just coming up. They've got an amazing, front pack, and they also have a back line that's doing their job. But yeah, it's real surprising that New Zealand's falling off the cliff at the moment. Hopefully they can win tonight, and let's see where they go. But Australia, we're playing South Africa again in Perth. Now, Rod, I don't know if you watched the game, but in Brisbane, essentially the stand was pretty much green. Not for Australia, for South Africa. They're now going to Perth, which might as well be South Africa's second home. The crowd, whatever happened to the loyalty of, coming to Australia and supporting Australia? No, it's literally going to be a home game, Perth, don't you think?
It could well be. And what do you rate Australia's chance?
Look, I'm very hesitant to support Australia, though. Look, the key thing that's happened for this game, Razi has actually taken the gamble of making 10 alterations to his starting 15. Well, the game that they played was quite exciting, where they changed things in the line out, they changed things at the scrum, they won the scrum with some of these new rules that are in that I talked about last week. The Springbok side is largely a youthful Springbok outfit, but it still boasts 7 Rugby World Cup winners in starting 15, with a further 8 on the bench. And I think that's something that, that quality and depth that I've spoken about with South Africa, it's just evident within their field. But Razi does play mind games, and I think he's really... he's going to come out with something exciting. Again, like I said, they're in Perth playing to pretty much... they'll be playing to a lot of South Africans out there. So I do expect Australia just to hopefully come back and make it a competitive game.
Yeah, what was it last weekend? 7:33.
I don't want to talk about last weekend. We're now here today, Rod.
All right. So, and they're playing today in Perth, as you mentioned, at 7:45 this evening.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're going to enjoy that. Now, what about UFC?
Oh, look, I don't know if everyone is... We have, again, a South African, Plessis, versus, as I like to call him, the style bender, Adesanya. Again, that's in Perth tomorrow. So, again, it's a South Africa fest out in Perth. Look, it's going to be a really interesting fight. Look, I'll just give some quotes. Israel is 193. Plessis is 180. 6'5" in terms of height. Both are in their 30s, with Israel on the older side, 35. The reach aspect, Israel has 2.3 metres, whilst Plessis has 1.93 metres. I mean, that's quite a difference, and maybe Israel will be, keeping him at length with his jabs. They both have switch stance, so they don't have one specific stance that they take. I expect it to be a very, eventful fight. I think Israel wants to come back. Plessis, obviously a champion within himself at the middleweight. It's going to be something to behold. So, yeah, look forward to watching the main card, and hopefully people can get around it too.
And your prediction, the style bender or Stillknocks?
Look, I genuinely feel South Africa might just be having a feast this weekend out there in Perth. I have to go for Israel. I'm going for Israel.
All right, now on to some signings for Super Netball.
Yeah, so, look, I mean, netball... Rod, answer me this. Did you ever play netball as a kid?
Probably once or twice.
Yeah?
Just, young age sort of stuff.
Yeah, and it's a fast game, isn't it? I've watched, and as a kid I used to play, and it's quite interesting just what's happening. Obviously, the Adelaide Thunderbirds have achieved what only one other club has done in the Suncorp netball, winning back-to-back premierships. So since then, teams have players moved. And it's essentially changing up the entire league. So what we've had, I got one person here. Silver Ferns goaler Grace Nikiwi has signed with the New South Wales Swifts for the 2025 season. The Thunderbirds have locked in their grand final MVP, Romeda Akin-George, for another season, which is fantastic for them in terms of shooting. The Vixens have re-signed their trio with Rudy Ellis, Zara Walters, and Lily Graham. Head coach Simone McKinney's OAM is excited to have the trio staying at the Vixens and in that den. We've also had O'Brien, who stays at the Giants. Aaron on a 2-year deal. The 20-year-old, as they've mentioned, is excited to re-sign with the club. We've also had young gun Lucy Austin has signed a 1-year extension with the Adelaide Thunderbirds. So Adelaide trying to keep their core within their champion team. So imagine if they win 3 championships in a row, Rod.
Very good.
Well, Rod, I think it would just be, quite phenomenal, wouldn't it? A great achievement. So they're just a few of the changes, the re-signings and the player movements of the Super Netball.
All right. Let's talk a bit of AFL and Carlton. Can they make the 8? Or is Hawthorn going to hold on?
Answer me this, Rod. What do you think?
I reckon Hawthorn will hang on, but they're my team.
They're your team. Okay, yeah. Well, you do have, the next 2 games, you're not playing anyone in the top 8, so which is actually a really good thing. I have a soft spot for Carlton. Having lived in Melbourne for a while, AFL's just life there. It's bled all over. I think you might be right, Rod. I think Hawthorn, it's just a tight field. You got Western Bulldogs on 48 points, Hawthorn on 48 points, Carlton on 48 points, Essendon on 46, and you have 2 more games to play. And Hawthorn is playing teams that aren't really doing well this season. But I'm going to disagree with you, Rod. I'm going to disagree with you. I reckon Carlton's going to somewhat come across and, spoil the day for Hawthorn fans.
And for the first 3 quarters of last night's game, Essendon was putting it up to Sydney.
Obviously, the Swans are number 1. It's been a tough road for Essendon. It really has, with all the dramas that they've had. But, the Swans are just playing exciting football. Playing real exciting football. And, the finals, we'll start talking about the finals as they go along, Rod, to really kind of, at least pay homage to my Melbourne roots.
It's going to be good to watch anyway, as we get close to those finals, not long now.
Yep. Who do you reckon will take the flag, though, Rod?
Oh, my crikey. I'm just looking through the A. I'd like to see the Western Bulldogs do it. but it'll probably be out of Sydney or GWS.
Surprising fact, I was living in the West, Sunshine, in Melbourne when they won the flag. The place went berserk. Western Bulldog flags everywhere. Look, I would love the Swans to win. I think we haven't had a win for a while. We're due a win.
And there's a very good chance of it. Now, shall we have a look at the Olympics?
Well, thank you, Olympics. You have been a memorable Olympics for so many reasons. Answer me this, Rod. Did you watch the breakdancing?
No. But even people who didn't watch it have an opinion.
A lot of people have opinions. Let's just say it was very memorable for all the wrong reasons.
And hopefully people with those nasty opinions can just get over themselves.
Yeah, it's taken a toll, and certainly we need to rein it in. But look, the 2028 Olympics, what sports are in and what sports are out? So breakdancing, as we've just mentioned, is out. So that's gone. The optional sports of skateboarding, sports climbing, which I watched, which was phenomenal, surfing, will transition to permanent events from 2028, while boxing and breaking, as I've mentioned, is out. Now, news for 2028 is flag football. Now, it's such an American thing, flag football, but we get it, where it's in LA. That's going to be in the games. Squash, Rod, I used to play squash. Look, I might even try out for the Olympics. I might even try out to play squash. I'm excited about squash. That game is so fast. It's a global game. The top players very much in Northern Africa. And you know, last year I watched the youth finals actually that were being held in Melbourne, which was very great, very good game. Did you used to play squash, Rod?
I have played a couple of times, but back in the day, Australia was right up there.
Yeah, we still have some really solid players. But look, I mean, the international field, and as I mentioned, the Northern African fields are just really good. But Rod, if you see me in the Olympics playing squash, I mean, I've got 4 years to start, right?
You heard it here first.
I'll move on. Baseball and softball and lacrosse. I don't know about that, Rod. It's, again, such an American sport.
Yeah, a little bit elitist too.
It really is. It really is. But look, I mean, that's going to be. But cricket would be is going to be added into the LA Olympics. But look, getting back to lacrosse, it hasn't been in the Olympic sport since 1908. There's a good reason why I don't think it lasts. I think it's, as you mentioned, an elitist sport. But what sport would you like to be in, Rod?
Oh, that's putting me on the spot.
Yeah, putting you on the spot right now.
I'd like to see synchronised stuff taken out of the Olympics. I don't see that as sport.
Yeah, it's quite boring, isn't it?
Yeah. So synchronised diving and synchronised whatever. Get rid of that. But as for going in, well, I do enjoy the rock climbing.
What about AFL, Rod?
Nah, really. Australia versus Australia.
Oh no, the Irish would play.
Yeah, but they're both different sports.
Yeah,
they're similar, but different.
But I mean, it would mean we'll have another gold medal.
There is that.
Yeah, and we'll get to our magic number of 20.
What would you like to see in?
Oh, look, I mean, sumo wrestling.
Well, it is enjoyable to watch.
It's a global sport. Let's, I think that would better than breakdancing. Let's just anything's better than what happened at breakdancing. So, yeah.
We'll leave it there, Kwabena.
Thank you so much, Rod. Good to be here with Answer Me This.
Kwabena Ansah and me, Rod Court.